Hi everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Kat.
And I'm Elsie.
And today we're talking about context.
Context clues. 前后文线索.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you're reading, or when you're talking to somebody, it's really important to know context. So do you ever read this way where you're reading something and you find a word that you don't know?
I always read this way. And
really?
I always tell my students to read this way too.
That's what I do too.
Right. So when you come across a word that you don't know, don't just look it up right away.
Yeah, like use your powers of intelligence. That's what we're going to teach you about today. And you might already know how to do this. If you don't, you're going to learn something very, very useful that you can use for any reading, anytime. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the article. Let's find out what we're going to do.
Reading.
Read like a master with context clues. You're reading a textbook and you come across a word you don't recognize. Keep reading before you reach for a dictionary. You can use context clues to figure out the word's meaning. Context clues appear in the material around an unfamiliar word. Look for these kinds of clues. 1. Words with similar meanings. Writers sometimes restate an idea using an easier word. For example, blue whales are immense. They're bigger than all other animals. Here, we can guess that immense means very big. 2. Words with opposite meanings. These words can give context in the same way as the first type of clue. So if a sentence reads, Gareth is obese, but Nick is very thin, we can guess obese means fat. 3. Words are clauses that explain the word. Here, an explanation of the word follows the word itself. For example, at the zoo we saw a tapir, a pig-like animal that is found in South America and Southeast Asia. 4. Words are clauses that provide examples of the word. In this kind of clue, the meaning of the word is made clear by examples. Here's one. To not fall asleep at school, Colin used stimulants such as coffee. We can easily guess what a stimulant is from this sentence.
Okay, our article starts out today saying, you're reading a textbook and you come across a word you don't recognize. That's a good example because that's probably something that happens a lot in school.
Yeah.
So the first word that we have right off the bat is textbook. Textbook is a noun and it's, as you can guess, a kind of book. It's a book that's used for school, for a particular class. And it talks about one subject at one level. So it's very, very specific. It's like I still have my Chinese textbooks from NTNU. I don't use them much these days because I'm too busy to study Chinese, but I still have them. So anytime I can go back, I can find vocabulary lists, I can find exercises, and there's like a dictionary in the back, there's activities, that kind of thing. That's a textbook. You can also call these course books, and the point is that they're for learning something. They're for learning something in school. But a book that isn't just used for classes that you have in class isn't a textbook. So if you read a novel in English class, that's not a textbook, because you can read a novel on your own too. So a textbook is just for school. All right, here's an example sentence. I had to carry 5 textbooks to school today because I needed them for classes today. Oh, so heavy.
Okay, textbook 就是教科书啦. So, Kat, you said you have a lot of Chinese textbooks?
I do.
I have a lot of English textbooks.
Great.
也就是英文的教科书。那除了教科书之外，我们还有读很多其他的书，像是 novels 刚刚有讲到的小说 comic books 漫画 magazines 杂志，这些都是书籍。那另外呢，我们还在文章一开头的时候看到这个片语叫做 come across something or somebody， 这代表的是偶然遇见或是发现某人某物。For example, my friends and I came across a cute little restaurant yesterday when we were shopping. 昨天我和我的朋友逛街的时候发现一家可爱的小餐厅。或者是呢，我们也可以说 We also came across our English teacher from high school. 我们还遇见了高中的英文老师。这边你都可以用 come across 这个片语。
The second word that we have in this sentence is saying we don't recognize a word. Recognize here is a verb, which when we say it quickly, we can say recognize. Now, when you see something or somebody and you understand or remember or you know it, usually from past experience, you recognize that thing or that person. Sometimes you might meet a person you don't recognize, but they know you. That can be kind of awkward or embarrassing if they say, hey, I know you, and you're like, I don't recognize you. So another example, many famous people get recognized on the street by their fans or by anybody else. If you recognize a word, that means, I know this word. I've seen this word before. But you don't have to know what it means. You just have to know, hey, I've seen it before. But if you don't recognize, what is this word? I've never seen this word. That means you don't recognize it. Here's an example sentence. I can barely recognize Selena. She looks so different now than before. So that means you almost don't see her or you don't know who she looks like because she looks very different.
Recognize 这个动词呢，代表认出。那课文说啊，你在读教科书的时候遇见了你不认识的字，在这样的状况下，你会怎么办呢？ So, Kat, what do you usually do when you don't recognize a word?
In English, there's not a lot of words I don't recognize anymore.
How about in Mandarin Chinese?
In Chinese, I have to look it up because it's usually the character I don't know.
Oh, the character.
Yeah, so I can't use context clues because the character I don't know it.
The characters are hard to learn.
But I think in English, if it's like a really, really hard word, I also have to look it up because usually it's a very, very specific word and I can't find any clues about it. Yeah.
I see.
But you guys, you're still learning English. You can use context clues to learn about words you don't know. So that's what we're going to talk about now. Keep reading before you reach for a dictionary. So yeah, don't just go right to looking it up. You can keep trying these different ways to figure out the word.
没错，那这边看到 keep 加上动名词，它代表的是持续一直。那另外还有一个片语呢是 reach for something， 代表伸手碰触或者是拿某个东西。For example, she reached for a glass of wine before she sat down on the sofa. 她坐下前先拿一杯红酒。那这篇文章教我们怎么样呢？要继续阅读，不要拿字典。Don't reach for the dictionary.
Right, so before you reach for the dictionary, you can use context clues to figure out the word's meaning. Okay, and we've kind of already talked about this a little bit, but the next word, the vocab word, is clue. And you might have realized from context what a clue is. A clue is a noun that means a hint, or something that helps you find the truth or learn a secret, but it doesn't tell you directly. So if I give Elsie a clue about where am I going for lunch today? Maybe it will be something spicy, something...
你要吃辣的
Yeah, something sweet, I don't know.
甜的
Or something from Mexico.
Oh, so you're gonna try Mexican food.
Yeah, maybe. It's just an idea. But we think of mysteries when we think of clues because detectives like Sherlock Holmes have to use clues, a bunch of small hints, to find the answers to the mystery. So context clues can help you solve the mystery of a word. So to give somebody a clue might mean to drop a clue or hint. Or you could say drop a clue to say that you're giving somebody a clue. There's also a couple of phrases around the word clue. Like if you tell somebody, get a clue, it means like, stop being stupid. Or if you call them clueless, it means they have no idea what's going on. They're kind of in their head. All right, so an example sentence for clue. Maya's girlfriend has started giving her clues that she would like to get married soon. Oh, look at that ring. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, so to give somebody a clue, 那就代表你要给人家一个线索。Clue 这个字就是线索的意思啦。那我们在文章中看到的 context clues， 它代表就是文意线索。那另外呢，我们还在这一句话当中看到 figure out 这个片语呢，它代表的是理解、想出。For example, my sister couldn't figure out the answer to the question, so she was upset. 她想不出答案，所以沮丧。再来呢，我们还看到一个字哦，它是 meaning. So what does this word mean?
Yeah, so meaning is what we're trying to figure out. And meaning is another noun. So when you talk about what a word or idea or piece of art means, the ideas that it shows you or tells you, that's the meaning. So meaning here is almost the same as definition, But a definition is more like the words of the dictionary tells you to show what it means. The meaning is what the definition tells you. So the meaning of the word is different than the definition of the word. If you say something is meaningful, it has a meaning, usually like a deep meaning, like an emotional connection, or you have a wish for something, like this is a very meaningful gift. It means a lot to me. I feel very happy about it. Now, an example for meaning, the meaning of the word phantom is the same as the word ghost in English.
Meaning 这个字呢，它是一个名词，代表意思、意义。那刚刚有提到的，在字尾加上 ful 变成 meaningful 这个形容词呢，代表有意义的。So for example, the symbol he drew on the paper was meaningful. 他画在纸上的符号是具有意义的。那另外呢，mean 这个字呢，它可以当作动词用，代表意指、代表。所以当你要问人家说，这个字是什么意思啊？你可以用这样的问句 ：What does the word mean？那回到课文呢？课文说到，你可以利用文意线索找出字义。
All right, so we're talking about context clues. Now that we know what a clue is, context is kind of what is around the word. So context clues, the article says, appear in the material around an unfamiliar word. Look for these kinds of clues.
Appear 这个动词呢是出现，所以这边在告诉我们的是文意线索 context clues 会出现在不熟悉的单字附近。Unfamiliar 这个形容词呢，它就是不熟悉的，所以呢，你要做的就是找以下的线索。Okay.
All right, so the first way to look for context clues is words with similar meanings. Okay, so similar here, this is an important word. It's an adjective. It means not quite the same, but the same in some ways. So for example, I look similar to my mom, but my mom doesn't look exactly like me. I just have the same brown hair color, same green eyes, but I don't have her same face. That kind of thing. Similar taste. If people have similar taste, it means they like the same kind of things. Not the exact same things, but the same kind of things. Similar hobbies. Or animals that are similar might be like dogs and wolves. They're similar. Sheep and goats, they are similar. A noun for similar would be similarity. So if you add ity at the end, you get similarity. That means things that are the same about two things. So these have some similarities. Now, an example sentence for similar might be, these two books have similar stories. They are both about young women who go on adventures and change the world.
Similar 这个形容词呢，代表相似的、近似的，但不是完全一样哦。那这篇文章说到首先我们要注意到意义相近的字。那接下来呢，文章说到 Writers sometimes restate an idea using an easier word.
So restate would be to say again. Yeah, so for example, blue whales are immense. They're bigger than all other animals. So immense and then bigger than all other animals. So here we can guess that immense means very big.
那刚刚我们先看到的一个动词是 restate. 这个动词呢，它是由re 在字首加上后面的动词 state 组成的。那当你看到字首它是 re 开头的时候呢，它有重新再一次的意思，所以 restate 它是重生重写。那还有像是 reuse 在利用， replay 在播放，或是 rebuild 重建，都是这样子的方式。那这边说到呢，作者有时候他会用简单的字来重申再次说明一个想法。那例子他给的是什么呢？蓝鲸很巨大，比其他的动物都还要大。这里呢，我们可以用后面的线索来找出 immense 的字义是巨大的。
So now we figured out what immense means. Now here's our second way to use context clues. Words with opposite meanings. So we're going to take a look at that in just a second. Things that are opposite, the adjective opposite, the opposite of similar, they're not the same. So actually, opposite is the opposite of the same. They're opposed or opposing. So things like white and black, those are opposite colors. Love and hate, opposite emotions. Cold and hot, opposite temperatures. So if a word has an opposite meaning of another word, that word is exactly on the other side of the first word. They have to be as not similar as possible to be opposite. They can't just be not quite the same. They have to be really, really different. So here's an example. My friend and I have opposite taste in movies. She loves romance movies, but I like action and thriller movies.
Opposite 这个形容词呢，代表相反的。那文章这边就说到了，再来呢，我们要注意相反的字义。They are also very important.
So how can an opposite word tell us about the meaning of the first word? The article says these words can give context in the same way as the first type of clue, which is similar words.
所以课文就说到啦，相反的意义的字呢，和同义字一样，可以找出前后文的情境。那同义字就是我们第一个重点给的，我们要注意意义相同的字，这样子才可以帮助我们。So, do we have an example here?
Of course we do. So the article says, so if a sentence reads, Gareth is obese, but Nick is very thin. So you can tell by the but in the middle, they are opposites. We can guess obese means fat because it says Nick is very thin, Gareth is obese. That's opposite.
所以 but 这个连接词呢，它是用来连接前后意义相反的子句。后面说 very thin 很瘦，那前面一定是相反 very fat， 所以我们就可以知道 obese 这个字呢，它代表的是 very fat 非常的胖。
Yeah. So now we have our third way to use context clues. Words or clauses that explain the word. I thought we kind of did that in the first two, but I guess probably it's another way too.
And we have to know what clauses are first,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
A clause 它代表是一个子句。那我们有什么样的子句呢？像是副词子句、形容词子句、名词子句，同学们一定都有学过。所以呢，这些子句我们也要利用它来找出它到底能够帮助我们了解什么样的字义。
So we'll give you an example of that in just a minute. But first we have to explain what we mean. Here, an explanation of the word follows the word itself.
OK, explanation 这个名词呢，代表解释、说明，所以在这个方式当中啊，单字的解释就跟在单字的后方。OK.
All right, so here's our example. For example, at the zoo, we saw a tapir, a pig-like animal that is found in South America and Southeast Asia. They're very cute.
OK, so tapir 它是 a pig-like animal that is found in South America and Southeast Asia. 在南美和南亚可以找到这种像猪的动物。So what is a tapir?
It's, well, okay, you think of a pig and then make its nose longer. 把 Yeah.
它鼻子弄长一点，猪的鼻子长长一点。
Yeah, and the ones from Malaysia, they have like a black head, black body, and then like a half white body.
马来西亚的那一种呢，它是前面黑色，后面白色，所以同学们一定会想到它是马来貘，所以 tapir 它代表就是貘。
Yeah, so that's a tapir. Now we know. All right, so the article goes on to give us the fourth way you can use context clues. Words or clauses again, that provide examples of the word. Examples are great.
提供例子的单字或子句也是很重要的。And the article says, in this kind of clue, the meaning of the word is made clear by examples.
So I think we use this in our example sentences
Yes.
a lot. Now, the article says, here's one example. To not fall asleep at school, Colin used stimulants such as coffee. Okay, so we can easily guess what a stimulant is from this sentence. What is it?
Stimulant 我们从前后文看，为了不要在学校睡着，好，这是原因。Colin 他用像是咖啡的 stimulants 刺激性物质，所以我们知道他后面举例 such as 像是，所以像是咖啡，那咖啡就是个刺激物质。
All right, so now we've gotten 4 ways that you can use context clues. If you look through example sentences in the magazine or the ones that we've said today, you can actually find these kind of context clues in all of our sentences because that's what we try to do. We try to give you context so you can learn the word. So that's what we've got for day 1. In day 2, we're going to practice using it, but that's all we've got for today. So that means it's time for us to go to For You Chat.
For You Chat.
Okay, so we don't actually have like a specific For You Chat question today, but we can talk about some new words that we've learned recently.
Yeah, so Kat, what are some of new words you've learned recently? In Mandarin Chinese.
Yes, in Chinese. So this is not that recent, but maybe this year, I learned the word 口罩.
口罩
Of course.
masks.
Yes, because it's everywhere. And so I learned this from context because, all of the stores have the words 口罩, like we don't have them or something like that. Or now we do have them. And then you hear it on the MRT announcements.
Yes.
You hear people talking about it in like the news or on Facebook. I hear the mask word everywhere. So now I know.
口罩,
口罩.
And you learn it.
Yes, I did.
Good.
And I wear one as well. Yeah. How about you?
I've learned a lot of new English words.
Okay.
But they're all boring.
Oh, really? They're all boring? Like what?
Like what? I can't think of now. I can't think of one now, but there is one that you just taught me. You want to share that one with our student?
Oh, this one's really weird. It's a weird word. Nobody actually uses it, but it's kind of fun. Uxoricide.
What does that mean?
It means wife murder. It means murdering your wife because
杀掉老婆的人.
Yeah,
We call him or her.
What?
Oh, 是那个动作是不是? It's the action.
Yeah, it's an action. It's a noun. So
It's a noun.
Yeah, because uxor in Latin means wife, and side, if you add side to anything, C-I-D-E, that means murder.
所以杀老婆这件事情
Yeah. So
用这个
murder
字来说
of a
Okay.
person is homicide, murder of yourself is suicide, that kind of thing.
所以 homicide 是谋杀 suicide 是自杀那杀老婆是
Yeah, uxoricide.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so those are some interesting words. You can write that down if you want. Uxoricide, that's uxoricide. It's a useless word, but it's kind of fun. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow, and we're going to practice some of those context clues.
Okay.
So, bye-bye.
Bye.
Read like a master with context clues. You're reading a textbook and you come across a word you don't recognize. Keep reading before you reach for a dictionary. You can use context clues to figure out the word's meaning. Context clues appear in the material around an unfamiliar word. Look for these kinds of clues. 1. Words with similar meanings. Writers sometimes restate an idea using an easier word. For example, blue whales are immense. They're bigger than all other animals. Here, we can guess that immense means very big. 2. Words with opposite meanings. These words can give context in the same way as the first type of clue. So if a sentence reads, Gareth is obese, but Nick is very thin, we can guess obese means fat. 3. Words are clauses that explain the word. Here, an explanation of the word follows the word itself. For example, at the zoo we saw a tapir, a pig-like animal that is found in South America and Southeast Asia. 4. Words are clauses that provide examples of the word. In this kind of clue, the meaning of the word is made clear by examples. Here's one. To not fall asleep at school, Colin used stimulants such as coffee. We can easily guess what a stimulant is from this sentence.
Vocabulary Review.
Textbook. My school bag was heavy because it was full of textbooks. Recognize. The movie star grew a beard and wore glasses so nobody would recognize him in public. Clue. Can you guess what I bought? Here's a clue. It has 2 wheels and it goes fast. Meaning. While she was traveling in France, Mandy had to look up the meaning for a lot of French words. Similar. These 2 movies have similar stories. They're both about people lost in space. Opposite. My brother is lazy, and I love playing sports. We are completely opposite.
字汇小补帖
Clause. Explanation.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net